It was a year of survival. I know for myself and maybe for some of you, like I'm a Cancer, hence pretty pity party because she is like low-key crashing out all the time and just emotional about everything. Hi everyone, I'm Chrissa Sparkles and welcome to my show, Pretty Pity Party. I am a musical comedian and I am really excited to be doing the show because truth be told, capitalism is kind of exhausting and I got really burnt out trying to write music every week, trying to put out on the internet all the time. And as a musical comedian, I have been working on my live show, 1 full hour, and I realized that I want to dedicate a lot of my music making time to making my live show as good as it can be, and I just don't have the capacity to put it out weekly to build my following. And I love talking to people. I also love to yap. And a lot of the content of my live show just kind of talks about my personal life. So here I am with Pretty Pity Party. And I'm really excited to be here and to meet all of you. I started doing Pretty Pity Party as a live show this year. Oh my God, it's still 2025 in Los Angeles. And it was kind of an open mic portion with some of my favorite comedians that I would invite. And then I would do a set. And it's just a great way to build community. And I think that's something that I'm really hungry for right now. And I think that's something that we are all looking for in these times. I'm really excited to be doing this show. So this is going to be pretty rough. I actually started this series on my Instagram called Pivot Princess. And I've been going through a lot of changes this year. And boy, the year 2025, the year of the snake. What a time. Every single person I've talked to about this year was like, yeah, it could be better. And I absolutely agree with that sentiment. I've been going through plenty of changes in my life, and with the year of the snake for the year 2025, it's been about shedding. It was rough. As someone who is quite invested in her own emotional health, I feel like I went through a lot of turmoil when it came to change. And that was really scary for my nervous system. As I go through these changes of kind of settling into my life now, just a little background about me. I was a clothing designer for 8 years, and I closed my business down last year officially. All the paperwork and everything, I'm actually starting to finish everything off by the end of the year so I can start 2026 fresh. My clothing line was my entire identity. That's all I really wanted to do, was to design clothes, making Barbie clothes for adults, making cute clothes for celebrities, for red carpet, for concerts. And I got to achieve that, which is amazing. But I really felt called to make this shift. And I've always been a performer. I did musical theater in high school and in college. I'm a college dropout. I was a music major and I was like, no, I'm just going to keep auditioning for stuff. And then I ended up being an on-camera personality for a K-pop TV show when I was like 19, 20 years old, after auditioning for a bunch of musicals all the time. I really wanted to settle into my identity and embrace having colorful hair, having tattoos, and just being myself in a way that I couldn't be in the musical theater world and in the acting world. And throughout my entire 20s, I was just focused on expressing myself and finding ways to explore my identity through fashion. So I created a clothing line and I'm so grateful that I stopped it. But now I've had to really rehaul my life this last year or so, in terms of I don't have this business to make my means anymore. And I also decided to pivot towards comedy and music and taking that really seriously because it brought me so much joy, and it really brings me back to that time in my life where I made that shift from doing musical theater to being an on-camera personality and like a TV host, because I got hired to be me. I got hired because I had tattoos and I had pink hair and how I represented these brands working with Sanrio, Hello Kitty, Care Bears, Tokidoki, and that was much of my livelihood throughout my 20s. And I'm 35 now, and I feel like I'm back to making that pivot. And recently, I was reading how in astrology, 2025 is a 9-year. So we're experiencing a lot of endings. There's a lot of reflection of what's been going on the last 9 years. And it's so fascinating because 2016 or so was kind of the time that I started my clothing line. And so now I'm here at the end of 2025 at 35 years old, getting ready for the year of the horse 2026, which is my year. And I'm very excited. I feel like there's been a lot of shedding and processing and release, and equally a lot of grief when it comes to letting go of this old identity that I had and who I used to be. And I'm really looking forward to what this new year has to bring. And I'm just really excited for momentum. And I think that's kind of a common word that's coming up. Like, I'm a Cancer, hence pretty pity party, because she is like low-key crashing out all the time and just emotional about everything. So I'm really excited to just move forward. And I think 2025 collectively, there's been a lot of uncertain energy, stagnant energy. It's been very frustrating. It's been very sad. It's been a lot of grief. And it was a year of survival. I know for myself, and maybe for some of you, it was a year of survival. And I think this is where community comes in. And I'm really excited to not only be starting this show, but also I want to bring it monthly to LA. Starting on Valentine's Day. And I think this is just a great way for all of us to connect and to laugh. And I'm prepping for a tour and finishing my 1 hour writing new music and sharing new stories. And I'm really excited for it. I've been working on my show for the last, I think, couple years at this point. I've even had to reframe my process, because my job is different. I work a day job now. I'm not necessarily doing clothing design anymore, where I would just work like 2 or 3 weeks every 2 months. And honestly, that was so lit. I really enjoyed the freedom of that. But at the end of the day, I had to adapt to the times. And right now, I'm really settled into this life, and I'm kind of reevaluating and approaching what my creativity looks like. This past year has been a lot of shedding old remnants of my identity, which is being a clothing designer and how that's affected the way that I dress. This is very neutral for me. If you're watching the video, you can tell this is quite a bit of brown for me. And for those of you who are just listening, I'm wearing like this pink and brownish printed mesh plaid off shoulder top, which is definitely a silhouette that I would have never chosen, but we're here to embrace the change. And so that's where my Pivot Princess series was born. My music career took a pause. I feel like it's taken a pause, but this has actually been the most successful year for me, because I created this song called Fuck Ice. It was during the ice raids in Los Angeles in June, when we were really at the height of it. I mean, it's happening every fucking day and it's devastating. I started The Artist's Way earlier this year. I feel like everyone was on that Doechii kick. Like, Doechii won that Grammy. She's like killing it with her album, and just like Coachella. Was she on Coachella? Lollapalooza? She's literally been everywhere. So everyone was on that Artist's Way kick, you know? So I made it all the way to week 8, which I'm pretty proud of myself. And I started learning how to produce my own music. And a lot of the time, I only write with my ukulele or a guitar. And I really just wanted to expand my range and my approach to how I write music. Doing The Artist's Way kind of opened things up for me in terms of, wow, I can actually produce my own songs. It's possible because I've always relied on other people for my strengths. I've always been a one-woman show. I mean, I lit and did the sound and did the video for all of this. I'm going to be doing the editing as well. I've always done everything on my own. I've always been very self-sufficient. And in this day and age, in this economy, as an artist, you have to be. And I don't mind that, but I think with music, it's so vulnerable, it's so intuitive. And as someone who has a fear of being seen, music has been a really big challenge. And I want to be really sacred about that process to where I know I can feel safe putting it out there. But I made Fuck Ice as a response to everything going on in the world. And I don't know, I just had this like melody kind of repeating in my head. I remember I was just like livid and crying and just venting to my partner about everything going on and just reaching out to my friends. I had friends out in the protests who got arrested, and it was a really really intense time for our community. And I remember being in the shower creating this song, like, oh, I need to put this down. And it literally came out of my brain in like less than an hour. It came out so fast. And I was really nervous. I never made a song like this before. And as a recovering people pleaser, rocking the boat is not ideal for my nervous system. And I've done a lot of work, especially as a child of immigrants, which this issue really hits home. And I think creating this song was a way for me to express that anger and that frustration, and just kind of became an anthem. And I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about putting this out. And I had like a cute little craft night with my friend the next day. And I was like, hey, can I play this song for you? It's a little thing that I came up with. And to see her reaction, like she hasn't really heard a lot of my music. And this is my friend Kim, who I absolutely love. Shout out. And she was just like throwing it back. And she's like, this is incredible. This is what we need. And sometimes we're just like in our own bubble and we have tunnel vision of what our art does for us. But at the same time, like, how is it going to serve other people? Will it serve other people? That's been a very tumultuous relationship with social media for me, is like trying to focus in on how I feel versus how are people going to respond to this? Are people going to respond to it? And when I finally put out the song, I was like, literally that night, I played it for her, and then I got home at like midnight and I recorded the video, and then I posted it first thing the next morning, and it just took a life of its own. And people were like, drop the track, sis. So I literally hauled ass to like post it through DistroKid at 11 a.m. after sharing it at 9. And my partner is a producer and he's amazing. And he helped me kind of like add the finishing touches to it because he's so good at that stuff. Again, things that I'm learning, but if I can work with other people, why not? And it just took a life of its own. So after that, I came out with a song called Don't Fuck a Fascist, and I've been able to incorporate these songs into my show. You know, it's interesting. I say that my music career took a pause this year, but those two songs, and specifically Fuck Ice, is the biggest song I've ever put out in the last couple of years that I've done music. And I produced it all by myself. I always write my songs. And I always like work with a producer with any of the tracks that are on my, streaming catalog that are like out for you to stream. But this was the first time I fully wrote and produced a track. And it really showed me that I was capable of doing this. And I think it's really changed the way of how I approach music. And I think ever since then, I've had a little bit of a perfectionist mindset of how can I top that? And at the end of the day, I just couldn't write any more political songs because it is fucking bleak out there. And waking up to read the news of whatever our fucking president says, is awful. It's not good for our mental health. And as human beings, we are not meant to be consuming this much information about everything instantaneously 24/7. So I've really had to take a step back. It's been quite a journey for me emotionally to wrap my head around, making this kind of music. And I hope it catapults me into a new level of creativity where I can be fearless and courageous. And that's what I'm hoping this podcast, this video series does for me, is to just, I think, teaching my nervous system that it's okay to be seen. And I felt myself feeling so exhausted earlier this morning. I was working and then I went to the gym and I was like, oh my God, I'm really dreading doing this podcast. Like creating excuses. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. I have to set up the camera and then I have to talk to people, to myself. And then I was like, no. I went and grabbed a matcha. I did a cute little doodle journal situation. And what I do now is I bought a sketchbook when I was in Japan recently, and I bought a set of colorful gel pens and a cute little watercolor marker. So instead of doing my morning pages like I've done for many years, I kind of took a break because my brain is tired. And I was like, I'm just going to doodle Fufu, which I have right here, my sweet little girlfriend. There she is, cute little white poodle with pink ears and 3 legs. What a cute little girl. You're so cute. So if you've seen this fluff around my lap, that's why. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I honor the fear that I feel of being seen and not being perfect and showing up messy, but I'm going to approach this with curiosity and ease. And fortunately, as we're going through this, it feels good. So thank you for being here. Using my phone, let's see. Okay, so pivots I'm making in 2026. So I have written here, betting on myself because no one will come to the rescue. And Pretty Pity Party came from a really dark place where I just felt perpetually exhausted and devastated and sad and feeling like I was left to be alone to do these things on my own, and just allowing myself to be annoying and grieving and just sulky and sobby. And I actually wrote a song called Pretty Pity Party, which I hope is a new single that I come out with in the new year. And I have it in my show. And I realized that a lot of my life, I think the way that I grew up with immigrant parents, and my parents are absolutely incredible, and I have such a great relationship with them. They always did things for me, but in a way that didn't necessarily empower me, right? It was one of those things where clean your room, but they wouldn't teach me how to properly clean my room and just form good habits on how to clean it and keep it clean and to take care of my space. So they would just clean it for me, right? I think so much of their life in raising my brother and I have an older brother, is, we don't want our kids to struggle. We're going to struggle and sacrifice our lives coming to a new country so our kids don't have to struggle like we did. So really it was out of love. And I think for the longest time, I would approach certain things that I do with, I think, this idea that someone has to help me do it. I've been someone who's always been a self-starter, and having immigrant parents who were so busy working and didn't necessarily have the emotional capacity to kind of spend time with me, but also communicate with me in a way that I wish I could have had when I was younger with a parent, I think a lot of Asian Americans, a lot of immigrant kids, or, children of immigrants kind of have this experience of what the American life looks like based on a lot of TV, and then home looks very different. It's not what it looks like on TV and in movies. And so I think I've had to teach myself how to do everything. When it came to wanting to pursue acting and doing musical theater, I had to go on the internet and find message boards, learn what a 32 bar cut, 16 bar cut of a contemporary musical theater song, a ballad and an up-tempo song, and then begging my parents to have me take like 8 dance classes a week for 2 years so I can keep up with all the kids who are auditioning for conservatories and musical theater colleges, like literally triple time stepping out of the womb, okay? Like I had to work my fucking ass off. And something that I think about now, like I've just kind of been wallowing in this idea of like, oh, I have to learn a new skill to learn music. I have to learn how to produce. My music theory is so basic and I failed hard in college and dropped out as a music major. And I have to do this all over again when music is so collaborative, but I don't have the money to pay people. It costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of resources. And now that I don't have my business making the money that I used to, I don't have that financial flexibility. So now I have to learn it all on top of working a day job and maintaining a relationship and maintaining my mental health and my physical health and all these things. And I was just waiting for someone to like come in, swoop in and rescue me. And at the end of the day, I'm the only one that can make this happen. And I think doing this podcast, even though it's not necessarily music, maybe I'll play music on it sometimes, it just gives me this freedom to express myself in a way that I can start, establishing community and working different parts of my brain and talking about other things that maybe I can use in songs. And you know what? I'm more than just a musician. And what I love about doing my live shows is that I get to meet a lot of you. I get to meet a lot of people. People share their stories with me and how they relate to my experiences as a woman in my 30s who, goes through a lot of dating, goes through a divorce and a career change and having immigrant parents and, all these things. So I'm just on this journey to learn how to be self-sufficient and to be excited about it and to empower myself to do a lot of these things on my own. So another thing is follow every creative impulse without the pressure of a desired outcome. Yeah, that's a really big one for me as a creative. It has really stunted my idea of play. And I've had a career on social media for a really long time. I've been on Instagram since 2012, maybe 2011 even. And I always treated it almost like a business. That's how I kicked off my businesses. I think that's why I have the amount of experience that I do. The people that I've met, the job opportunities I've received was all through social media. And something that I've talked about with my therapist a lot is how I approach my art and how time is money and how I can fully maximize one thing and branch it out into 20 different things as multiple streams of income. And if something flops, I stress the fuck out. And as a people pleaser, as a perfectionist, to have your self-worth tied to an app that you have zero control over is absolutely awful. And I don't recommend it to anybody. And that is a part of my journey that I'm learning right now, is being able to show up for myself because I want to, because I feel like it, because my future self and my highest self, the person that I envision, the woman I envision as the performer and the career and the life that I want, this is what she'd want. And that's literally what I journaled today. I was like, I want to make this podcast. I'm going to make this video. However it turns out, I don't care. I don't even know what the format's going to be, but I'm showing up. And I'm really happy to be here. And I feel so good doing it. And I just started recently, ever since I got back from Japan, I just had this revelation when I got this sketchbook to start kind of sketching almost every day. I just doodled whatever came to mind, and I had no expectation, and it was so liberating. And I thought, wait, I can do that with my music. I can do that with making videos. I don't know what the turnout will be. I don't know what the outcome will be, but I will give it a try. And this is where it comes from. And I'm currently writing a song right now. I wrote it literally when I got back from my trip a week ago, and I've been trying to like make it more complicated. And I'm like, I wrote it, I did it, I just need to record it and put it out there. So I'm trying to act on any creative impulse that I have when I feel it, and then throw it away, start a new thing. So not being attached to the outcome or to the process, but rather enjoying it. Last but not least, another pivot I'm making in 2026 is surrounding myself with people who inspire me. This last year, I've truly been a hermit trying to figure out my shit, working my day job that I really love, but is very exhausting. And it's very exhausting in a way that it's like having to be present for others all the time, and having to protect my voice because I talk a lot. So it's been quite a journey of how can I protect my voice and find ways to kind of nurture myself and my creativity, but also, tend to my own needs. And that was a lot of this year. And I think in a way, when you're so introspective like that, it can get lonely. And I think a lot of my friend group has truly changed. I don't even know if I have a friend group anymore. And I think I've been grieving that a little bit. And it's not that I've had any fallouts with people. It's just every single person in my life that I know, we're all just trying to survive. And I'm not taking any of it personally because I love my friends. I love those people in my life so much. And I know we have a lot going on, and just trying to keep the lights on and trying to make a living. And especially for those of us in Los Angeles and dealing with the fires earlier this year, which was another great start to 2025. We've all been trying to keep up. And especially a lot of my friends were all in the industry, and it's been really rough for everybody. So, I'm looking for more community this next year and just connecting with people who inspire me. Like, I'm at this point where I feel like a sponge. I just want to absorb everything that people tell me and that they share about themselves and their process. And I'm ready to put myself out there in a new way. And I think that's why I'm starting this show, whether it's through the video that you're watching, or if you're listening to this right now, or even my live show that I'm going to do every single month in LA and maybe other places as well. I'm really looking forward to surrounding myself with people and just getting inspiration by how people are living, and knowing that I'm not alone. We're all in this together, even though it feels so incredibly isolating. And I'm really looking forward to the new friends and relationships that I haven't met yet. And I think that's going to be really exciting. Let's see. All right. I think that's all I'm going to talk about today. But some things that I'm doing to prep for the new year really quick. I'm big into vision boarding, and I actually did not make a vision board this year. And I've been doing it the last few years. And for 2025, I haven't made a vision board because I was like, I just need to get a job and I need to pay for my life and get my debt handled. That was like first and foremost, what I was planning on doing for the year, and I'm getting it settled. Wow. I love being an adult, man. I love it. It's very, tumultuous, but I'm really grateful to be in a place now where I'm finally settling into my life and a rhythm and a cadence. And I just want to be open to new opportunities. And fortunately, with the music that I've put out this year, it's presented really exciting opportunities that's like been pinch me moments. And I can't wait to talk more about that at some point. Some of it is under wraps, but yeah, it's going to be a really fun time. Vision boarding. I think I'm probably going to do more of that today. And hopefully for the new year, I have more intention and more clarity. And I'm just a very visual person. I've always produced my own photo shoots and did, production design and styling, set design, everything. And I think being a visual person, I think that's what's made music really difficult for me. So I'm learning how to play with imagery and how to tie music with that because I can see things very clearly. And I think a vision board is going to be such a great way for me to communicate what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. And not so much as like, these are my goals and these are non-negotiables, but I think just giving myself a path and a guideline and being open to any opportunity that comes. Next step, following my joy. And literally just do it. I'm in this era. I'm in my flop era, baby. I'm learning to flop gloriously. Doing whatever it is that I choose to do. And I hope that's something that you get to do for yourself as well. I hope you give yourself grace and kindness for the courage and your intent to show up every day for yourself this year, because 2025 was fucking rough. And I'm really proud of us. We made it. We did it. If you think shit really hit the fan this year, because it certainly did for me, you made it out. We have a new year coming. And what's really nice about 2025 being a 9 years, there's a lot of closure. Perhaps kind of thinking about what you've done, what you've accomplished, how you've grown in the last 9 years. Where were you? Because we're starting a whole new cycle, baby. And it starts for the year 2026, the year of the horse. And as a Cancer, I'm going to be crying with a lot of joy and processing a lot, but being less of a hermit and putting myself out there because I want to get over this fear of being seen. I want to be heard. I want to be creating community. And I want to find joy out there. So thank you guys so much for following along. I get to hopefully do this every week. And you can follow me on Instagram at Chrissa Sparkles. You can stream all my music on all streaming platforms under Chrissa Sparkles. If you want to find out more information about my tour dates, get some merch because she has really cheeky merch. And honestly, as a clothing designer, I love that for me because my merch is gonna pop off for all my shows. And I know that's what makes me different as an artist. And I just gotta embrace it. You can get it all at chrissasparkles.com. And thank you so much for listening, for watching Pretty Pity Party. Thank you for your presence because your presence is the present that we all need. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Wait, Fufu, you have to say bye. Say bye, mamas.